Long season, ladies and gentlemen.
It ain't over, baby. It ain't over.
Now, there is somebody that it might be over for, Janae. Tua, I think his career is over. They put him on IR. He's out for the next 4 games at least. Janae, when he got those concussions a couple years ago, I questioned him coming back. Last year he was fine. But this concussion where he went right into DeMar Hamlin, of all people, and then, come on now, and then you look at him and he looks like he's trying to, he just looked paralyzed almost, and it was like, no, I don't want any parts of this. Get him off the field. If he stops today, nothing else, he's already got a national championship in college. He's already done great things with Miami and getting them to the playoffs. He's already a solid QB. But for your health, man, Janae, am I overreacting?
I don't think you're overreacting, Sean, but I also think it's up to the player, man. We are just we don't know when anybody else has these major concussions because they rarely ever say anything, and when they get hit, like matter of fact, last night when I was watching Jalen Hurts, I feel like one of those plays he definitely got hit really hard in the head towards the end of the game where he had to adjust his helmet. There are times where it happens. The problem I think we have is that it's so noticeable and that the seizure hand, he's having these incidents where it's like, oh crap, like,
right.
So I look at it that way, but I totally agree with you, Sean. I mean, sometimes it's like, I could take this 100+ million, walk away from the game and be happy. They just gave you a contract. You got a long-term deal. You got some good guaranteed money. Nothing is wrong with tapping out. It's not like you gave up. This is not a give-up situation. But if everybody's looking at it from a health point, I mean, you go down as a hero. People know what you did for the game. They know what you've contributed to the game. And they know that you've bowed out due to the game. But you did it for your health. Nobody's going to look at it like you were a failure. I think you've accomplished, I mean, of course you didn't accomplish the Super Bowl, but I mean, how many have? I mean, you've done what you needed to do. You got your check. For this reason is why I advocate for quarterbacks to get all the money they can. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
If they're beating themselves up, and all players, I mean, fight for your money. But when we talk about what they got to do and the risk they got to take, and this is what happens with it. But, Sean, I totally agree with you. I do think that he should call it a day, but I wouldn't be surprised because football is just in their blood. They just can't give it up. They don't see themselves outside of football. It's sad. But if this is what he chooses to do, you understand the risk. It's just we got to now, as fans, understand the risk of Tua being out there.
Well, right. And I mean, to your point, like, we've been on fields or we've been in places where, you've been in front of crowds and where the feeling of that adulation, that all the joy and people cheering for you, even on here, when we go and start really getting in a groove and everybody's commenting, when we're not doing that, there is a little feeling of like, oh, dang, I missed that, man. I missed that. And think about it, thousands, 50,000+ people are screaming your name and oh man, Tua, you're this, you're that. It's easy to be like, all right, let me just go back out here. Let me just, you know what I mean? No, they'll protect me. So it's easy for us to say it because we're not in that position. But for him, I mean, it's a real conversation. If Tua would retire, it may help justify the losses of the season in Vincent Jackson. Stay out in Vincent Jackson. Yeah. And that's the other part. We now have seen him get hurt. He needs to take his – I'm not saying put his brain in science or whatever, but definitely they need to be giving him the CAT scans, CT, like really start looking, give him the MRIs and take a look at that because it's the long-term damage is what I'm worried about.
100%.
This game will be here. The long-term damage, I don't want him to have to go through that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So there it is.
It is what it is. I'm hoping that he makes a decision for him and his family and his future. There's so much things out there that you could do. I know football is your love, but there are other things that you could find to be your love, in this new season that you will go into. But you're right. But there's also not too many guys that make 200 billion plus. You are right about that. Yeah. It's just, what do you care about more? What do you care about more? And it's only something that the player can answer. We can say it all day, but it's only something that Tua feels comfortable. If he gets back out on the field, we just as fans have to realize that they're willing to risk their lives for the game.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Thabby. What up, Thabby? I know this is personal. You are a diehard Dolphins fan. So football is all he knows. And a lot of times that is, what do you do after that?
Yes.
You know, Chris Cole. What up, Big Chris? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, buddy. A lot of guys don't have the ability to work at the ESPNs, etc. Oh yeah, because that's a serious question. What are you going to do after this is done?
Afterwards, it's a lot of unknown, but you got plenty of money to figure it out.
Right, and that's the thing.
To figure out the next steps.
Yeah. So, Nathan, appreciate you coming in the comments.